Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's regular city council meeting for December 9th. We'll call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. First, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Engineer Fuentes, will you please lead us in that? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hudson,
Present.
Vice Mayor Thomas is absent. Councilmember Hanson,
Here.
Councilmember Pride, here, and Councilmember Busby is absent. Thank you.
Any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Okay. Next up, we have item 5, ceremonial matters. Item 5A, Life Saver Award for saving the life of an EMS patient, presented by Fire Chief Monk.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to just start off by saying that this is something that I think I need to probably get a little bit better at is, some of the follow-up. I'm not at every single call. And this isn't the only time that this has happened since the last time we've done something like this, but this is one for sure that I know about. And I think it's important that when we know about these things that we acknowledge the good work of the volunteers and the career staff and shine the spotlight on them as begrudgingly as some of these guys feel about this. A lot of these guys are pretty humble and they don't necessarily come out looking for this. And I kind of had to pull some of them here. Thankfully, it's a Tuesday, so they were here already for drill. But I'd like most of the guys are here. Evan Dick, Marshall Giesbrick, Matt Lopez, Jaime Fuentes, Robbie Burt, Shane Rakestraw, Matt Randolph, and Kenzie Wilson to come up, please. Just the lineup. So this evening's Lifesaver Awards getting presented to all of these members here. On October 18th, the Willows Fire Department was dispatched to the report of an unresponsive patient. Engine 3 and the Willows firefighters arrived at scene to find a single male patient laying on the floor of an upstairs bedroom, unresponsive and not breathing. Willows fire personnel immediately initiated high quality CPR and applied an AED. They delivered multiple shocks with the AED, and they secured an airway. Enloe paramedics arrived shortly thereafter, and Willows fire personnel continued to assist with both basic life support and advanced life support interventions. Return of spontaneous circulation, also known as ROSC, was achieved on the scene. The patient was packaged and carried down the stairs. That's one thing that we forget about sometimes is where we find some of these patients, and we resuscitate them, but now there's still a problem of moving them from point A, which is wherever they're at, to point B, which is in this case was the ambulance. They were carried down the patient was carried down the stairs and loaded in the ambulance. Enloe medics requested 2 Willows firefighters ride to Enloe Hospital for the 40-minute Code 3 transport. In that transport, the firefighters assisted with breathing for the patient, and helping that paramedic provide care. The patient received long-term care at Enloe Medical Center and was subsequently discharged from the hospital home with no neurological deficits. Truly a life saved. The incident highlights the rapid response, coordinated teamwork, and effective life-saving actions of Willows fire personnel, directly contributing to the patient's successful resuscitation. A lot of things have to come together in these type of situations and have a positive outcome like that. I've spent a lot of time responding to fire calls in this county, either in the south part of the county or up in the north part of the county. And I think one thing that we take for granted here in Willows is the level of care that we get pre-hospital. And a lot of that is attributed to 24-hour staffing. Our response times are faster because we usually have somebody because we always have somebody at the station 24 hours a day to get there to start. Another benefit that we have is that career staff members there to help train our volunteers. And so we kind of have that big brother assistance there, that full-time paid professional to help provide some of that higher level training on a more regular basis. Another thing that I wanted to point out is the amount of people that it takes to successfully resuscitate somebody and get them from point A, which is their bedroom floor, to point B, which is the hospital. In a cardiac arrest, I know the three of you are well acquainted with this, but you know, you need someone there to do CPR. You need somebody there to breathe for them. You need somebody there to run the monitor. You need somebody there to help push the drugs. You need somebody there to set the IV bag up. And then you need a bunch of people to put them onto a mega mover and carry them down the stairs and load them up into the ambulance. If any part of that chain falls apart, then it's not going to work. And for us at Willows, we're super fortunate to have an extremely dedicated and effective group of volunteers. And as the chief and as most of these people's friends, I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you for all you guys do. So that's my spiel, and thank you guys for all you guys do.
Tri-tip. It's not often he gets you all down here in your uniforms.
2 rows, shortest in the front, tall goes in the back. George, you're a front rower.
Chief, cover up your head.
Guys, have fun at drill.
Thanks, you guys. Go make sure you do a good job decorating so we win.
Yeah.
You know, for people who haven't been a volunteer, I mean, just remembering that all of these guys and gals, they work, they have school, they have other jobs. And when the pager goes off in the middle of the night, they get up no matter what they have going on the next day. It's a big impact on families. So we do have a great group of volunteers here in Willows, and we should never take them for granted. They do a great job.
Yeah, very proud of Willows Fire. Great operation.
All right. Chief, thank you for that. That was well deserved. I know they respond to a lot of those types of calls and without as positive of outcomes, and that starts to weigh hard on them. So I remember that one life that was saved is a big difference for them. So thank you to that. All right. With that, we will move on to item 6, public comment and consent calendar forum. All items on the consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved with a single vote unless removed for a separate discussion by the council or city manager. Individuals wishing to speak on consent items or matters not on the agenda are asked to complete a speaker card and submit to the city clerk. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor and council members and are limited to 3 minutes. By law, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Is there any public comment regarding any of the items on the posted agenda or not listed on the agenda? Seeing as 99% of our audience has disappeared, I'll take that as none. Okay. Posted agenda item 6A, register approval. 6B, minutes approval. 6C, children's librarian position. Updated job classification and salary schedule. 6D, fire captain, updated job classification and incentive pay. 6E, firefighter/engineer, updated job classification and incentive pay. 6F, part-time firefighter/engineer, updated job classification and incentive pay. 6G, fire chief, updated job classification and incentive pay. 6H, 2026, staff and adequate fire emergency response grant, SAFER grant. 6I, supplemental funding to purchase Tink Claw backhoe attachment. 6J, 2025 California Fire Code and Willows Municipal Code, Chapter 15.115 Amendment. 6K, 2025 California Building Standards Code and Willows Municipal Code, Title 15 Buildings and Construction Amendment. And item 6L, Annual Developmental Impact Fee Report. Are there any comments regarding those items?
Just that I think this is the longest consent calendar we've ever had.
I think so. I don't ever remember counting to L.
I would move to approve the consent calendar forum, items 6A through 6L. Just with the comment that I'm happy to see the job descriptions being updated for ALS, and again, just thanking Chief Monk for pursuing the ALS designations and being able to recognize financially those additional credentials and whatnot that he'll be bringing to the table.
I would like to make an amendment to that. If we could pull item 6L, Annual Developmental Impact Fee Report. I do have a couple of questions on that.
So I'll amend my motion to approve consent items 6A through 6K as presented.
Mr. Mayor, second the motion, and I echo Councilmember Wright's comments in reference to the ALS matters.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. Okay. Again, same remarks, Chief. Thank you. It's been a lot of work that you've put into this. I think, is it 6 or 5 out of these items? 6 of these items. Yes, I counted correctly. 6 of these items were ones that you put together yourself. So thank you for making that a big consent calendar for us. And just shows all the positive work you're doing for the city. So sincerely, thank you. Okay, on 6L, Joe, I got a couple of questions for you.
All right.
Hold on. I at least warned you, okay?
No, you did. Absolutely.
On item 6L, I noticed that there was some blanks left in the fee chart as to the library and Parks and Rec regarding the commercial and industrial. We kind of touched on it a little bit when I was giving you the heads up that I was going to pull it. And this is, can you re-explain that to me again?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Betancourt, Community Development Services Director. So this report is prepared by our city engineer, John Wanger. I do know some about this, so I'll attempt to answer to the best of my ability here. So what you're referencing is the current impact fees in the table. Excuse me. Where you, the first 2 lines, library and Parks and Recreation, do not collect from a commercial development or an industrial development. My thought on that would be, this is all linked to our 2008 Nexus study, that it's hard to make a case that a library would have impact due to a commercial development. And same with the Parks and Recreation. We can look at the rest of these fees that are charged out on all 4 categories of residential, multifamily, and commercial, and see that when commercial development comes in, there could be an increased need for police, fire, wastewater, and storm damage. So my best thought on that would be that it's hard to make a nexus to having commercial development making an impact to library and Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
And we will be, eventually updating this, because 2008 is a long time ago. So we can definitely reevaluate as times have changed if those fees are able to be applied to those 2 categories.
Okay. And then specifically talking about Parks and Recs, we are using part of that to supplement some of the costs of the Sycamore grant as well. Okay.
Potentially. So
Depending on the costs.
depending on the cost when we get out to bid. So we may need to pull that in. One of the things that we had mentioned before was the pathway lighting around the walking portion of the new pathways. Is
Correct.
going to be put as a bid alternate. We don't know where the real bid comes in compared to engineer's estimate. So if needed, we can either choose to use these development impact fee funds to fund some of that, or we can choose to eliminate portions of the scope of the project to get it in budget. So if we need to, that will be brought back as an option to the council.
Okay. And then with that, in order to change these fees in the schedule, we'd have to do a new Nexus study. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'll make a note too, as me and Marty have discussed that these fees, even, the fund balances that are associated in this packet currently, even with the new Nexus study and say, hey, we want to fund these new things coming up, we would not be able to apply these current funds to those new. So you would be starting afresh. So Marty and I will be meeting to discuss how to best use these funds and kind of, get them to the best use prior to going to our new Nexus study. Really, taking the initiative to get some projects done with this funding.
So essentially, to follow up on that, the Nexus looks at what needs growth is going to create for the city and then what we would need. So the current funds are to take care of the needs that were projected for the growth from point A to now, essentially.
Well, they were in 2008, whatever we were
Right.
collecting, that we would then be using it towards what's in it. And you can't, under state law, then update your Nexus study and decide to use money you've already collected for something else now.
that you did
So we
like
would,
that.
and this money is somewhat old. And so actually staff are meeting with the city engineer, who's kind of the keeper of the Nexus study, to go over what's left and really make a plan to expend it. We really should do.
Perfect. Any further questions?
I have no questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, with that, I'll leave it to the pleasure of the council.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve item 6L and the resolution attached as presented.
Have a
Second.
first, a
Second.
first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. All right, next up on our agenda, as I go to page 6. Item 7, discussion and action calendar. All matters on the discussion and action calendar will be discussed and acted on individually. Individuals wishing to speak on these items are asked to complete a speaker card and submit to the city clerk. Comments should be directed to the mayor and council members and are limited to 3 minutes. First up, item 7A, Waste Management Franchise Agreement, Annual Consumer Price Index Rate Increase. City Manager Marty Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this is an annual event that comes to the council for consideration and hopefully approval in December typically, which is why Diana Ramirez is here from WM. And so it's just a consumer price index increase proposed for the 2026 calendar year. It's based on the urban customers' Western States CPI, diesel fuel and tipping fee rates, and the calculation from last year to this year comes out to a CPI increase that's proposed for 2.95%. And as the staff report indicates, according to our agreement with WM, we are authorized, basically the agreement automatically authorizes, in essence, a CPI increase of up to 5%. So this is well within what is permitted under the WM agreement with the city. So the recommendation is to approve the 2.95% CPI increase in the WM rates for calendar year 2026. As you can see from the attachment, there's quite a bit of data and information about what those increases would be. There's a few of the more popular ones are indicated in the staff report. For example, senior 35-gallon cart going from $17.12 to $17.62 a month. 35-gallon cart from $23.10 to $23.78, 64-gallon cart from $24.98 to $25.72. And as I stated earlier, Diana Ramirez from WM is here to answer any questions you might have about the proposed rate increase. That concludes.
Okay, I will go with questions of the council. Any questions?
I have no questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any public comment? You're the only one in the public. You can have your comment whenever you'd like, I guess. With that, I do actually have a couple of questions for you. One is, I understand there's a difference between the residential and the commercial rates, and they're rated differently. How come there is no bin service for residential uses inside the city of Willows? And why is there such a price difference between the two? I just noticed that, for example, the 96-gallon cart, which is it's big, right? It's the biggest one that you guys offer for residential, where the 1 yard bin, it's almost a 4-time cost difference, and yet it's only twice the amount of storage. So I'm curious, is there a reasoning behind that, or is it, how is your study done to come up with those prices? Does my question make sense?
Okay, so you're comparing the residential cart rate versus a commercial bin rate?
Correct. Yeah. Essentially, that's what I'm doing. Yes, because when you look at it per gallon of waste that you have in either one of the containers, the commercial rate's 4 times higher. So I was curious as to why that would be.
So we do have separate routes for our front end load trucks versus our automated side load
Okay.
vehicles. So that's all part of the calculation. It also has to do with geographic density in terms of driving, for example, for residential, you go house to house to house, and it's in a neighborhood, and we live in ticky-tacky neighborhoods with ticky-tacky houses that are relatively close together unless maybe you're out further in the county. So because the density for residential, it allows that vehicle to basically collect at more stops with less driving versus commercial, where there's a bit more driving in between locations. And so that contributes to it as well.
Okay.
So I think,
That's
in
the
terms
majority of
how
it is.
pricing kind of generally is, that's something that we do take into consideration.
Okay. That was it. And I feel like I've asked you that question before a couple of years ago at a waste management meeting.
That's okay.
But I kind of forgot the answer. And
Happy to answer
I've been
any
asked it by somebody else, so I figured I'd throw that out there.
Sure.
So with that, are there any more questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just want to point out, first of all, Diana, thank you very much for your help as always and your professionalism. It's always a pleasure working with you and your firm. And Waste Management has been extremely fair over the years since I've been on the council in reference to their rate increases. And I'm really surprised that the CP increase was only 2.95%, especially in this kind of weird economy that we have. It affects different industries differently. So, but no, I'm pleasantly surprised with only a 2.95% increase, especially with the costs of some of our services skyrocketing. But good job, good job to Waste Management. It's a solid company, provides excellent service. So I just wanted to point that out. So thank you, Diana, as always, and Merry Christmas, you and your family.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate all the feedback. I will let everybody know back at the office of, it really is an honor and a privilege for us to be able to help keep the city of Willows clean. And it's a big point of pride for us. So thank you.
Keep it
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that fuel allocated adjustment went down. Fuel, I expected that one to be going up constantly.
And it does with waste management. It's gone down several times over the years, surprisingly. Yeah, they're very fair.
You happen to
very
know
fair.
why that is? Is it due to cleaner technologies that you guys are using, or is it actual?
We are still using diesel in the district that services the city of Willow. So we do use diesel. And for the last year, you all may have noticed even the price at the pump for regular unleaded has been either going down or moderate. We haven't seen those $4, $4.50, close to $5 stretches like we have in the past. So I think because of that, I mean, I'm not a consumer, index professional, as to why do things go up and down, but that's kind of what I look at. So if you look at those diesel numbers and you've noticed that they haven't skyrocketed, that's good for when it comes to these calculations. So
Perfect.
mhm.
Well, thank you. And yes, pass on our regards. I have to say, I never had a bad experience with waste management. If for some reason a bin gets missed, you call them up, they'll come take care of it. So really appreciate your guys' professionalism in that. So
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the feedback. Thank you.
Thanks,
With that,
Dana.
I will leave it to the council.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve item 7A as presented.
Have a first,
Second.
a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All right. With that, this will be, oh, sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. Sorry, I almost called for a roll call vote. All right, next up is item 7B, new library technology. Recommended action, authorize the city manager or her designee purchase new library technology using the library development impact mitigation fees in an amount not to exceed $12,000. With that, it looks like Christine, you're the contact on this one. Okay.
Dean City Librarian. The rationale was mostly because I was asked to evaluate the existing technology by the library board for last meeting in October. I did that, and it is abundantly clear that there's a lot of outdated technology and it's a past time update. So I collaborated with John, the city engineer, to come up with a plan to make it fit the impact fee usage requirements for 2008, which is a little tricky. But we made sure that we were focusing on replacing computer stations. So throughout the library, we were going to be adding, what we're using is TVs, but they're technically computer monitors, right? We'd be using them as projection systems to be able to hold programming for adults and teens and children throughout the library spaces, including that new back room that I'm currently but it's all gone through the approval processes with the city engineer, and they'll do a very good job of able to run that technology.
With that, any questions from the city council?
I don't. I'm just excited to see a lot of these upgrades happening. Got to kind of get a little look at the back room, and it's huge, and just really excited about getting a new job description updated for the children's librarian, getting technology. I really think for the library to be relevant today in today's world, the technology is just such a critical piece of that. So thank you for.
Definitely think
Yes.
it'll allow us to utilize the space better and bring us closer to.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, like to, Christine, just like to thank you for your excellent work on cleaning up that junkyard of a mess there and utilizing that room. I know Marty's kept me advised. It's been a lot of work, much appreciated on everything that you've done there, and utilizing that room for something other than a giant storage closet, well, storage container basically. But anyway, and also for your professionalism, taking a look at the overall operation and suggesting as we on our consent calendar moving forward with the full-time children's librarian, which is extremely important and the most well-used service in my mind of the library. And I know my granddaughter, when she was a little younger, really enjoyed it. And my wife had her down there all the time utilizing the children's librarian-related services. So on your refocus and your reorg, excellent work, good job. I'm happy that you are here and keep up the good work. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, to reiterate what everyone else has said, you're doing great work. I do remember the first library board meeting that you were attending to. Did not go necessarily off without a hitch, but I do have to say that the work that you've been doing over there has been noticed, and we all appreciate it, obviously. I do have a couple of questions for you, though, on this item.
Yes.
You mentioned a 3D printer.
I did. So there is existing technology, and actually within the last 2 days, I have discovered that there were not three. Two of them were in storage for the last year. I have no idea if they work, but what I was told about the previously existing 3D didn't work, and that the company that manufactured them and administered them no longer existed or didn't support that piece of technology. So it will be interesting to see if the two that I just found today still function, or if they are worth keeping. I do know that the filament that we have was not properly board. Filament is the plastic material put in the 3D printer, right? It wasn't properly, so it is a shot in the dark as to whether or not it will function and size appropriately within the printer, or if it will fail out because it wasn't properly stored. So in the discussions with John, I don't want the 3D printing programming to go away. I do think it's an aspect of contemporary librarianship that is important, and it's a draw for some of our teen users and adult users to bring in that STEM education piece. So there is a different new 3D printer with all of the accessories that go with it. I did some research about what was the most effective and most supported 3D printer. This is not my first rodeo when it comes to machines. And it is frequent that you buy them and then the companies no longer support them or they go obsolete very quickly. So I spent a great deal of time this go around looking for a company that's not only established, but has several generations of printers. And they have good support systems and there is needed for the printer. It is something that I've heard from previous patrons and staff that Lowe's and having one, and that it was in use when it was working. So I do think it's worthwhile to place it. I don't have any worth this time, but if we can use the old ones and they still work, great. If not, we know that like if the new printer is going to do a good job and serve the needs of the community. It's the one.
Okay. Well, that kind of answered my second question of can we get more than one? And it seems like one will
I
fit the
feel like
needs that we have.
It seems silly to buy more than one. I'd like it to be very mobile. I haven't shared like the item list with you, but the point of the 3D printer and the way that I've used it in the past, just due to how temperamental they are, want to be able to move it around. I've noticed that the building fluctuates in temperature greatly depending on where you are. So, like for example, it's warm in, but it's not as warm in the back room. So it depends on what you're printing, what kind of material you. I'd need it to be able to navigate through those different temperatures and spaces. So I don't want it to be in one spot. I want to be able to take it into the banks room, back room, team sections, have it out behind the desk if it's live streamed. I want it to be able to then utilized in a lot of different ways, regardless of where I.
So with that, how is the time allocated for people to use it? And how does that process go about?
Right now, none because I have a phone.
Well, I'm assuming that you had have some sort of standard though for when it was operating that
yes.
they kind of
So
set up.
typically, it depends on how big the print is, what its purpose is, right? So if you have like a list of waiting for something printed, would do priority, right? So I used it in the educational setting. It was for a project that came first, and if your item was just for fun, that kind of got pushed down the list. I think it would be first come, first serve as we start up the program again. I think it's been out, I can't say before I got here, but at least the summer. I don't think there was anyone on staff past June who knew how to utilize one. So let alone it working or not working. So I think it will be a whole new thing. So I will start probably first come, first serve just to get it off the ground, but promoting it and make sure that the community knows that. And then also I'll probably use it too, just to make things as a way to promote it.
Cool. Yeah, no, I know some youth that are interested in doing that and they're like, well, can I get one? And I'm like, let's try it out first. So
A big chunk of the budget is to actually pay for a computer that will not only run the 3D printer, but then also run the laser cutter, which I need to utilize. I will end up myself. But the laptop within the budget is to run kind of specialized machinery. You don't have a full high power right now that can handle doing those two things simultaneously.
okay. All right. With that, I don't have any further questions. That sounds like is 12,000 enough?
Yes, actually. I worked
Sorry.
with Matson and Knightson to look at the TVs. I was spending quite a bit more than I needed to, and they found me really high quality TVs that weren't quite as expensive. And then honestly, because we're going with a very new model, they're going to be able to stream and cast internally. I don't have to buy external pieces, which is expensive. So the TVs are in cast to function as big monitors already.
Okay, awesome. Any further questions from the rest of the council? Okay, with that, I'll go to the pleasure of the council.
I would move that we authorize the city manager or her designee to purchase new library technology using the library development impact mitigation fees in an amount not to exceed $12,000.
I have a first.
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. Next up, item 7C. Approve expending a not to exceed amount of $5,000 for the City of Willow's 140th anniversary of incorporation celebration and authorize the city manager to distribute historical commemorative mementos from the city vault as part of this event. City Manager Marty Brown.
So, I was reviewing, you go ahead, yeah. I was reviewing some language for the new city website that the council approved back as part of the budget, and that was prepared by the city clerk. And in reviewing that, I noticed our incorporation date ended in a 6. We're about to be 2026. I did some quick math and realized it's 140th anniversary. And in light of where the city has been over the last years that I've been here financially, I thought the council might be interested in celebrating the 140th anniversary or the birthday of the city. So I wanted to bring forward a request for a budget. We're still working on some of the ideas of what that would look like. But one of the ideas, since you're already looking at everything, you're over there looking at those items. There's a lot of things in the vault that are just really old. I don't know where or why they're there. They're just going to sit there for an eternity, honestly, unless we come up with a way or an idea to somehow distribute them or dispose of them. And it just seemed silly to me to keep them in the vault. And this seemed like a potential opportunity to distribute to the community some medallions, some commemorative spoons. If there ever wasn't a reason or an opportunity, it seems like a celebration of the city's birth and anniversary of its incorporation would be that opportunity, and would also enjoy. But that aside, so that's where this idea came from. Like I said, we're still working on the event ideas. We're thinking literally holding it on the day of Friday the 16th, which is the birthday anniversary day of the city. And I have also solicited donations, and I wanted to let you know that WM I just found out today, is going to contribute $1,000, and I've asked about 6 or 7 different organizations. Masters Gallery has also committed $1,000. Walmart has committed $250 of store donation in kind. So some donations are coming in. I think it should be a fun event. The council is so inclined. We're thinking of maybe some live music and various activities. Again, this is all happening very quickly. This really was the only council meeting that we could get approval for a budget or anything or bring this forward because there isn't another one until January 13th. And that's not enough time, obviously, to plan an event this size. So we're still working out the details, what it would look like. We're open to ideas if the council's amenable to this project. Originally, we were thinking about Memorial Hall. And then the vice mayor said, why don't we just have it here? It's our birthday, and this is the epicenter of the city. So now we're thinking, yeah, that would probably be maybe a little indoor, outdoor, depending on the weather. Again, lots to figure out in 5 weeks, but that pretty much concludes the presentation and the request for the budget authority, as well as the distribution of some of those commemorative mementos of the city of.
So, I find those really cool. Okay, so is there anybody watching? Well, if they watch later, this is actually holds 2 sets of cards, which is really cool. Funny thing is there's price tags still on them. So the card set was $26 back in 1986. So were these being sold? Do you know at?
I have absolutely no idea. And that has been a little bit of a frustration of some of the interesting things that are in the vault is not being able to figure out how long they've been there, what era they're from. And like I said before, Mayor, I don't see the value of just hanging on to all of this indefinitely because it's already fairly old. And why not share it with the community during an anniversary event?
Yeah.
What
And
we
the
brought.
and the little medallion. $10. So
These are
I
cool.
mean, I got $36 right now. I'll take both. I'm kidding.
It's just an idea. If you don't like the idea,
No,
you don't have
I
to
love
do
the
it.
idea. I think they're great pieces of history.
My sister designed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sherry, my older sister.
Well, that's cool.
I think I have one more.
So
We're
I'm
probably
s-
not going to distribute one to you at the event then.
with that,
I don't have
Sorry,
one,
were you done?
but I'd be happy to buy one. Cool.
sorry, were you done? I cut you off.
I am. I just
Okay.
would say if you want us to sell them, we could also do that. We were thinking of maybe a raffle or I don't know, some different ways to maybe give them away in a kind of equitable.
Mhm.
I am done.
You could donate one to the museum.
That's a good idea. Good.
Actually do some kind of a plaque commemorating 140 years and whatever the activity is, maybe put some, they call it shadow box.
Any questions from the council?
Oh, very nice. Yeah, these are cool.
I don't. I mean, I just, when Marty and we chatted about it, it's just, it is a short amount of time and it's kind of a busy time. That's a Friday night. I know the crab feeds the next night. So it's just going to be important to get it out quickly.
Right. I think we were thinking of, and the vice mayor gave some ideas. He shared some via email of like, champagne and cake. It's literally our birthday and just kind of a relatively short and sweet. I don't know, 5:30 to 9:30, 6:30, something like that. It doesn't have to be, I mean, I kind of wanted fireworks, but the staff all talked me down from the ledge on that one and also how much it would cost. And so,
There's no fire hazard in January. So what the heck, right, Chief?
it would be considerably more money than what I'm asking for, though, too. So I backed away from that idea. So I mean, it's entirely the council's idea.
I was thinking, and Evan and I had actually chatted, I think it's cool to do something on the date of, but I think also doing something during Lamb Derby, having, if we have a car in the parade or just some way to continue to celebrate throughout the year. If we want to have a presence at any of the community activities, it wouldn't be a Measure I, vote for the sales tax booth. It would be a, hey, look at us. We've survived 140 years. We're still going
Sort
strong.
of celebrate all year long, all
Right.
2026.
Yeah, just kind of highlighting it throughout the years when there's a little more exposure with more of the community in the parade or like that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. No, I agree with Vice Mayor Thomas's recommendation to hold something like Marty said, something relatively simple right here at City Hall. Absolutely, rather than it is a busy time of the year. Plus, it's post Christmas, and that weekend there are several functions going that we'll be at. Some of them, and
I haven't heard from the county yet on availability leaving the
Yeah.
place. So
I think it'd be better
meeting's
just.
sounding like a.
I'd recommend holding it right here, be in control of it, and you're not paying rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and thank you, Chief, for your help on extinguishing the fireworks idea. So, but no, these are cool, Marty. These are cool. I've seen them before. They've been brought out of the vault, or they were brought out of the vault, discovered a few years ago and brought out, but they're really cool. But anyway, very good. Happy birthday, City of Willows.
Well, it's
Could we
funny
have
that
a
you
cake?
mentioned fireworks because I was thinking fireworks.
Well, could we have a cake with 140 candles on it, Chief?
Um,
I mean, I think I don't know what is the fireworks. I've heard for the 4th of July here, it's upwards of 10 or $15,000. Definitely over 10.
It's over 10, yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably 15 to 20,000.
You know,
Okay.
one of the prom nights, they got one of those lights that projects up into the sky. Because I
Right.
think I was coming in from Elk Creek and it's like, what's the, I mean, you could see it from a long ways away.
Laser. I looked that one up too.
That would be sort of fun where we had a laser and it's like follow the light to City Hall.
A drone show.
Oh,
The attorney's idea bin.
It'd
where
be
they do
kind
all
of
the
like,
formations and whatnot.
Well, I don't know if there's anyone in North State doing that, but I have seen where do a firework, fire hazard. Know what the cost would be.
The laser kind of thing that you're talking about, Councilmember Pride, is also pricey.
Yeah.
Ones I just did that and thought maybe that was something that is somewhere between 10 and 20.
Oh.
General.
Well, I can't believe a prom, a Willow's prom was doing it for that much
You're
money.
probably
So
right. I don't know what that would have been.
it'd just be fun. Have a, a W, I don't know what it is. A honker.
Right.
kind of like,
Oh, there
kind of
you
like,
go.
kind of like the bat light with the picture of Marty up
Yeah.
there.
Or how much did W for Willows? I like
It was like the bat. I think it was calling when they call Batman or whatever and the
Yeah.
light goes out. Yeah, that's exactly what it
Pretty
looked
cool.
like.
Oh, so okay, that's not
Works
quite a
for
laser
Batman.
show. I think that's just like a beam.
But it was bright. So we need to check
Fun.
prom supplies is how we'll find that.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
I think if you want to increase the budget and have us explore other options but run it by you somehow individually, we could try to do that. Or because I think the 5,000 would be eaten up really quickly with some of these other ideas and we wouldn't be doing much else.
I like the idea of just doing something though, that if people don't hear about it, especially with the short notice, that there's some kind of something they notice that makes them want to come and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Would just be a thought.
That is the
Um,
spotlight idea, I think.
so I know it's started here in City Hall, and I do like the idea of doing it here versus Memorial Hall. Space wise, depending on, you mentioned vendors and things like that, pretty tight in here. I would be willing to ask our fire chief if what he thought of us stealing the app bay from his fire apparatus for one night. Oh, you guys are setting up for the installation dinner the next night after that, correct? That's the 17th.
It would be the next night.
Yeah, the third, yeah.
17th.
So that'd be the 17th. Okay.
I think that we were thinking maybe depending on the weather, that like you would have the doors open and out in the lobby and here and just kind of a little bit maybe outside too if it's not too cold, and
Mhm.
just kind of leaving the Eubanks room maybe being open so that there's you could circulate, that we're not trying to keep people in here
And-
necessarily.
And I think, we have pictures, historical pictures, but if they had anything else that we could bring in and add to people can see what Willows looked like in
Maybe
1886.
the museum could help us out.
That would be, if they had any photos from the Museum of Willows in the early days that we can do some displays on easels or
Yeah, there-
something.
Yeah, there are a lot of photos down there.
And the vice mayor had also suggested that maybe we take out some of those ancient resolution books and some things like that out of the vault that we could show people. Look, back in 1888, this is what a resolution. See this original papyrus, something like that we could actually, show some of our
comfortable.
historic documents.
And that's actually a really cool idea to do. It reminds me of the Washington D.C. trip that I took with my kids earlier this year. We went to D.C. and we got to see the Declaration of Independence, and just being able to see those old documents and how they were written and things like that would be really neat to actually be able to show that history off. So I am willing to make a motion to approve up to 10,000 to make sure that this is a good event. I think that this is it a splurge for the city? Yes. However, it's showing the people of Willows that we are the city of Willows and we're celebrating our history and the struggles that we've gone through to get to where we are, and that we're not done. We're still in this fight. So with that, I will make that motion and leave that to the council.
Mr. Mayor, second the motion, and also in reference to photographs, we've got some fantastic photos right here in the building in the hallway. right
Yes,
here.
we do.
So when we have our open house, like Marty said, open it all up, and also bring that really neat City Hall picture out of the quote unquote council office that we don't use. It's where our mailboxes are. That's a neat picture that I recommend that be brought out and displayed somewhere where the public can see it. But, anyway, I second the motion.
Okay, we could get creative and with donations from WM and hopefully some more come in and we could really see what creative things that we can make happen.
With
Those
that, I will, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 3-0. Thank you, WM, for your donation to our celebration. That's exciting. And Walmart, and I believe you said somebody else.
Masters
Yeah.
and
Masters.
store donation from Walmart for 200.
Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. I really appreciate that. Hey, well, I'm excited.
Yeah.
See you January 16th.
Thank you for the support. We really appreciate it.
Okay, and flip back here. With that, we will move on to our section 8, comments and reports. Number 8, council correspondence. Anybody receive any correspondence?
I have not.
I did receive one and I forgot it. It was for the 4-H co-op in regards to their demonstration night that they hold every night. And I believe it is February 26th, I want to say. And I do apologize. I did leave it at the house when I took it all home to read everything.
I got an email also where they're asking for judges for
For
the
judges,
presenters.
yes.
Yeah.
And so council always gets that request. And I believe we usually have somebody each year. I haven't done it in a long time. I used to demonstrate at it, not judge it. But it's a good opportunity for the kids to learn how to do public speaking and things like that they put on. So that is the one correspondence that I did receive. So with that, we will go on to item 8B, city council comments and reports. Councilmember Pride.
I just want to say thank you to the Walking in a Willows Wonderland committee. I was not uptown Saturday during the day, but the light parade and the lighting of the Christmas tree that evening, it's probably the best Christmas evening I have seen in downtown Willows. The numbers of people that were there, the parade, the sirens were a little deafening. I always say the boys and their toys, when they've got a siren, they can sound all the way down the main street. But I was actually videotaping, and when they lit the Christmas tree, it was just, Santa had pulled up and they did the countdown. It was like a Hallmark movie. They did the countdown and Santa threw some white stuff out and the tree lit perfectly and everybody oohed and awed and clapped. And it was really, really, really wonderful. I took some photos. And so what I got to thinking is, as we have these events, and I have to say so often, I hear the negativity all the time. Our social media tends to be negative. It was so encouraging to be out in the community and have it be so positive. And as I thought about that, and I'm going to segue into our city website. Several months ago, I jumped on the city website because I wanted to look at something with our parks. And it struck me that when you get to the city website and you look at the parks, it tells you how you can reserve the park, but it didn't really have any information about the parks. We have beautiful parks in Willows. There were no photos, and so I'm thinking of now visitors who want to know more about Willows and come to Willows. I don't believe our chamber's website is kept up very much. I know a lot of our great 501c3 organizations can't really afford the websites or don't have capacity to maintain the websites. So I just wanted to throw out an idea that maybe somewhere on our city website, we can, and I know it's just in the long list of things that we want to spend time on and do, but that we could have a kind of that public facing thing of who are we as Willows? What are we about? Why do we want people to come here? And when they come, what do we want them to see? We have the beautiful parks. What events are going on? So if there are other entities that have a website that we can do a link, and it wouldn't be really advertising events. It's just saying, if you come to Willows, we have these standard events called a car and bike show and a lamb derby and Christmas activities, and just to get more of a feel for the town. I just think we lack that kind of community marketing, if you will.
I think the update of the website is also, it's making us think differently as well, right? As you start looking at, the language that Carlene wrote for the history of the city, and some of that's not really there either that I reviewed. And so I think it's making us also go, well, what else could we do on this website now that we're working on that design?
Yeah. So if, if we can just be thinking about those things, I think it would be awesome because what I look at now is, when people travel, they're looking for experiences. And I think we really, when we live somewhere for a long time, I think we forget about what we have that people think is really cool. Our wildlife refuges, people travel from all over to go there. And, so what do we want to showcase? And our wayfinding signs is a great start to that. We get those up and pointing people to the parks, our beautiful buildings. I just think we have a lot to offer and we don't showcase it like we could. That's all I have.
Okay, Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Today, earlier this afternoon, we held our monthly Glen Groundwater Authority Board of Directors meeting. It was an unusually light agenda for those meetings, which was very refreshing. Routine business. Anyway, got that behind us for the year. Still working with our joint board meetings. We'll have our next joint meeting with our sister entity, the Calusa Groundwater Authority, on December 19th as we move to implement the groundwater sustainability plan. Just a reminder before I forget, I mentioned it at our last council meeting, the museum, on behalf of the Museum Society Board of Directors, just a reminder that our museum reopening and Christmas open house will be held this coming Thursday at 5:30 at the museum, right at Loomis and Willow Streets. So going to have the better than last year's band. I think that's what they go by. Great group of people, really talented string instrument players will be there presenting. So that's again Thursday night. And thank you to the entire city staff. As always, I know I say this a lot, but it's sincere. I mean it, for all of your dedication and hard work citywide. And once again, we know the fire department's kicking it and getting it done, as is Public Works, day in and day out. So so proud of the entire organization. So Chief, you and Willows Fire, the entire organization, as well as all three entities under one roof, and your volunteers, good work, excellent work. Keep up the good work, and thank God we've got you, Chief. You're doing one heck of a good job. So thank you. But Public Works is getting it done with leaf collection, something fierce, and our new mechanic has everything running just like a top. So good work all the way around. And Lori, you mentioned the negativity on social media. Well, we know how it is. It's to be expected by some individuals. Oh well. But we've got a pretty darn good organization. Are we perfect? Nope. But we're a pretty good darn organization. This is a great community. So thank you for saying that. We've got a lot to be thankful for around here. I love this place, and we're just we're a gem here. And I echo Lori's comments in reference to the Winter Wonderland Committee. I probably said that wrong.
Kind of
Walking
walking in a Willow's Wonderland.
Is that what it was?
Willow's Wonderland.
Great job.
Call it Willow's Wonderland.
Great job. I know Mr. and Mrs. Tony Tapia were instrumental in that, as well as our very own Tara Rustenhoven and the entire committee. And I don't want to slight anybody, so I'm not going to mention any other names.
Big group.
A large group of community-minded volunteers and citizens here, all citizens naturally. But what they used to call the craft fair, but the vendor fair was fantastic. It was great. We attended every year, and I bought a really nice display from Princeton High School, Princeton senior class. I know some of them are Future Farmers of America members, which I was too, but I don't know if it's a senior class or an FFA group or a combo, but they had really great, Christmassy type little displays they put together by hand. And I bought one. I'm an Eagle, right? So, anyway, it was a great showing. I know Willows Fire was on scene to foster the chili cook-off contest. I did not hear who won it, Chief. Who won the cook-off?
I'm not sure.
But they were here. They were here and looking good, and they a good show of force. Willows Fire, absolutely, and the ladder parked across Sycamore as prevention was fantastic, and but but good job all the way around to the committee. And the parade was really, the parade went, I tried to time. It was about 40 minutes, I think. 35, 40 minutes. Great parade. Great parade. A lot of floats. It was really good. Really cool. Good job. Good job to the committee. It was really good to see. And that location downtown is perfect. The tree looks good. It was just great. So, and I think that's all I had. I'll stop there. But good work, City Willows team. Proud to play a small part in the operation. So keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Couple things. I did not attend the Winter Wonderland. I've been busy trying to move, and that's an ongoing process. Still not done. But I did have to go to ACE, and when I went by there, I noticed the amount of people that were attending. Just shows how much this community actually wants to actually come together. So I shout out to those that were involved. I believe they're the same folks that helped with the trunk or treat. That was also in the same location of downtown. And both events were amazing. So really glad to see the town wanting to, have some buy-in and putting back towards itself. So really wonderful to see. I also went to, I believe we call it a town hall for Title 18, which wasn't as big of a turnout as I think we were all hoping. However, while I was there, Joe and his team gave one heck of an education. I did not understand a lot of it, and
But no, you did.
they had the personnel there to explain it, and the booths that they had set up on how to structure different items of our code and things like that, and how that process should look, whether it should be fill out the permit and get it, or if it needs to go to staff or go all the way to the planning commission, and where we kind of thought those needed to go at. They had a lot of abilities for the public to bring their input in, and are really trying to streamline that system to make it a lot easier for, folks, well, like me, to understand, who don't really understand it, who don't know it. And so I thought it was a beautifully put on event. I wish if the public would have seen it, I think they would have really appreciated the time and effort and what's actually going into revising their Title 18 code. So that was really good, and hats off to those that were involved in putting that on. Then also earlier that day, in the cold weather that we've had, we also did the ribbon cutting for our lift stations finally. It was cold, but it was really great to see the technology that goes into that. That's part of our infrastructure that we don't see, we take for granted. Without those, our streets would be flooded with items that we don't want it flooded with. So that was a really big step. It's been 30 years since anything's been done to that. There's a lot of features added to it. One was technology used was to make it easier for our public works to find problems instead of them having to drive and look for a flashing light. They get an alert on their phones or at the public works building. The other was some safety mechanisms that were put into the pumps themselves to make sure that our public works staff is safer working in those environments, including guide rails when they have to replace the motors, instead of just having to worry about it swinging around and spinning on them. There's actually guide rails now to guide the pumps in and out. So a lot of really good updates that will hopefully last us another 30 years. And so we continue to hopefully grow as a city and a town. With that, I don't really have anything else as far as public comments. So we will move on to city manager's report. I had to flip back just to read that, only because I've been doing this for a year.
Very quickly, there were more people at the ribbon cutting than at the Title 18 Muni Code meeting. I
Yeah.
just want to point that out. That project was over $2 million, so it is a huge achievement for the city. And I know the public works staff are really excited to be able to monitor remotely the pumps and the stations and without having to drive by and visit them all over the week. So it's a big deal.
And Carlene, thank you. Sorry. Carlene, thank you for putting that all together. It was a beautiful show.
She was the rock star behind it.
Yeah.
Including the geocaching. I don't know if anybody tried to.
Well, I talked to, there was one mom there. She's a homeschool mom with her kids and go to church with her. So when I saw her at church, she goes, that was the best activity ever. So the kids really enjoyed it.
That's great. Well, I mean, maybe we should pull that out for another event then.
It's to do our magic on January 16th.
Yeah, there you go. Some more geocache. Look at this resolution from 1872.
Yeah.
Or go find historical points of interest in town.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. The other couple of things I wanted to mention quickly is that we have hired a finance director. Joey Harrison will be starting with the city on Monday, January 12th. Very excited about that. And she will be coming to the council meeting on the 13th. We also have hired the administrative analyst position, which is a shared position between the fire department and the community development and services department, Taryn Richardson, and she will be starting on Monday, January 5th. And so both of those are two more positions we're filling in the city, which is really great news, especially the finance department key position. And then please join us on Friday, January 16th to celebrate 140 years here at City Hall. Date, time, well, date not to be determined. It's the 16th, but time will be determined. Stay tuned for more information about that. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Very good. I'm
you.
happy for Taryn. She's done a good job here. So very good.
Yes, she is.
Very good. Good news.
Perfect. With that, we will move on to our next item, which is closed session. And if there's any public comments on item 9A, public employee performance evaluation, a title city librarian, or item 9B, conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8 regarding property 459 South Butte Street, agency negotiator Marty Brown, negotiating parties Clay Dolly and Elizabeth JT, under negotiation, price and terms of payment. Seeing no public comment, we will go into closed session at 7:07. All right, and we are returning at 8:16 from closed session. And City Attorney Andrew, will you please give the report out?
Thank you, Mayor. The council met in closed session on two items. First item was a public employee performance evaluation into Government Code Section 54957. Title was City Librarian. No portable action for that item is the report out. Second item was a conference of real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The property 459 South Butte Street, Willows, California. The negotiator was Marty Brown's manager. Negotiating parties were Faye, Dolly, under negotiation was price in terms of payment. And the report out for that item is the council has approved a purchase agreement for this property. Purchase price is $215,000. 21-day or sooner escrow. Title and escrow fees split between the city and seller. And the property is being purchased as is.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn our meeting at 8:17. Thank you and have a good night.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh yeah, that too. I didn't do